And for those who don't know what this could cost to them if they don't make this switch, what do you advise them, or how do you think that they will end up if they don't make this switch early enough in their career or in their business? You mentioned your example, I have my example. Do you have other examples from your experience from your clients?
I don't know, once it happened to me, I started to discover that it happens to almost everybody at some point. If you're really a high performer, we're trained in our culture to use adrenaline to get that high performance, and our bodies just can't sustain that. So, for me, it was absolutely terrifying when I hit that burnout and I could not work. I was just fortunate that I had savings. I had enough savings that I could get myself through that period of time where I couldn't work. But if I had been in a different stage in my career, if I hadn't had the experience I'd had from being self-employed for so long that I needed to always have a cash buffer, then I could have been homeless. I could have been on the streets. I could have been you just take it for granted that you can work and work hard until you can't. And, I don't know if I would have believed myself. Like if I went back now to talk to my 25-year-old self and said, there's a time limit on this, you're going to need to change direction, I don't think I would have believed it. And I know there was a period of time when I had some inkling, because I remember a friend of mine went into rehab to get off alcohol. And I remember going to visit her and thinking, wow, everything's taken care of, the food, the laundry, the clean, everything. All she has to do is sit around all day and rethink her life. It's I wish I could go to rehab. Why do I have to have an addiction to drugs and alcohol in order to get to have this break and reorient my life? So I did actually have even that clue, but then someone offered me an 8-week contract, and that 8-week contract turned into a 1.5 years, and by the end of that 1.5 years, I was burned out. So yes, I think, we either don't believe it or we're ignoring the clues. And I think most people need to have some kind of wake-up call before they'll do things differently, because the reason we're doing them the way we're doing them is we think if we don't do it that way, we're going to die at a deep subconscious level.
I absolutely agree with you. This is what happened to me as well, is that I had some signs, but I didn't really pay attention to them because I was okay, I can keep going and I have the power and the strength to move on, until I realized that not only this was affecting my health, so my body, but also emotionally I was a disaster. And I realized that I started to behave differently with people than in my natural state, and this was really the trigger for me that I have to stop, I need to make a change. But I know that this takes time, and the reason why I asked you is because I know that people really need to, not to be convinced, but to feel the pain that they need to change. Until we don't feel that pain and we don't hit the head in the wall, we don't make that change.